Hey everyone, welcome to the Ask Us show. This is episode number 40. Today is March 12th, 2019. I can't believe that we are on episode 40. I've done this for a while now. And I want to give a shout out to Busy Ibrahim. Let me just double check I got his name right. He gave the suggestion for today's topic, the importance of mentorship, which is a topic very close to my heart in terms of music career development. I think mentorship is a huge thing. I kept hearing this term a lot in entrepreneurship, in startups, in businesses, but it is really something that does happen in music a lot. And you can have, so to say, informal mentorships, and you can also have like very formalized mentorships. And I really, this is something that really separates people who are, it's Busy Ibrahim, Bizee Ibrahim. So shout out to Busy. Let me put a comment there. Hey Pachai, thanks for suggesting this topic. Pachai is an amazing musician. Thanks so much for tuning in. He's amazing. He's awesome. Such an awesome musician. So episode 40. So give me a sec while I just share the video. Today I was working on a few things. I have a recording session coming up, so I was practicing some stuff for it. Some materials, learning a song, and then I was doing some video editing today. I don't really feel as productive as I should today, but I did do some stuff, so I guess that's good. Amil in the house, Indra Putra in the house. So I'm just so you guys know, I'm gonna keep this pretty free flowing today. I didn't write down any particular points or anything, but I do have a lot of thoughts on this topic. So if you guys have any questions on what I think about mentorship or why this is even a thing, anything that you guys have in your mind, please feel free to ask questions and be interactive. I really think the big part of these Facebook Live episodes are just the interaction and the feedback and just going back and forth. Of course, I can just talk and rant as well. So mentorship. I guess when I started out, for me, I didn't really realize that I didn't think of some of my teachers were really mentors to me, but I didn't really think of it as mentorship, or I don't know whether they formally thought of it as mentorship. For example, one of my teachers when I was a student at ICOM, Encik Rosdan Abbas, he was very influential to me in a sense that he taught me classical guitar and he taught me jazz, and he showed me how you could do this on a nylon string guitar. If you guys watch me play, I play a lot on a nylon string guitar, and it's just interesting to watch him do it on that guitar. And he had really good kind of classical guitar technique, I guess. He had pretty good classical guitar technique applied to jazz, and I really admired that. And he also was pretty good with a pick. And he taught me a lot of things. We always played a lot of songs, and that was very good. He was a huge he encouraged me to really try to find my voice. And he was, unlike some of my mentors now or people I admire now, he was very much against transcribing. Nowadays, I kind of disagree with that school of thought where I feel that you need to transcribe. I think like transcribing is a useful thing. I think if you get too obsessed with transcribing and not absorbing the material, then that's a whole different thing. But I think in terms of learning directly from music, especially if you're dealing with pop music, jazz music, R&B, neo soul, things like are in the popular culture or folk tradition, it's important to transcribe. So Ichiro Rosdan was probably my earliest mentor, and he guided me to learning jazz and learning classical. And he, at one point, he taught me both classical guitar and jazz, and I owe him a lot for that. He gave me a lot of advice. Even sometimes I think sometimes he was patient, sometimes he was quite impatient, and I can see why. I was probably very annoying, especially when I was younger. I was probably even more annoying than now. And so that was really good having him, because he had gone to Berklee College of Music. He was living in Boston for many, many years, and he gave me kind of impressions of how it felt like to go to Berklee, how it felt like to study in Berklee. In fact, because of his advice, when I went to Berklee, I actually wanted to study with certain people like Brett Wilmot and Garrison Fewell, late Garrison Fewell. Those two in particular are teachers that he recommended me to study with, Brett and Garrison. Alif has a question. Cool, man. If I want to improve my bass skills, what kind of scales should you practice? I think bass guitar, if you want to practice bass guitar, right, to be honest, what kind of style do you play? Are you playing mostly like rock or metal or R&B or jazz? What kind of style do you play? In general, I would say for bass, I would start out with major pentatonic and minor pentatonic. That's like a general thing, major pentatonic and minor pentatonic. And I would start out with just 1 and 5, like root and fifth, root and fifth. It's a really root, fifth, and octave. So I mean, I'm not really a bass player. I did take bass lessons. I took funk bass lessons when I was living in California, but you know, just like, and being able to do that on bass in fifths, or like in cycle of 4 or something. Being able to do that. I don't know whether my guitar is in tune. Relatively in tune. So I would want to do that, and then maybe also work on, yeah. So maybe for bass, this is Alif's question. So maybe also work on, I would say, major pentatonic. So just like 1 octave. Then F, B flat, E flat, A flat, G flat, F, G flat, E, E, A, D, G, C. I missed it a bit, but I would really recommend, if you're doing pop or R&B, to start with major root, fifth, octave, and then major pentatonic, and then maybe minor pentatonic, just like F, B flat. But really, for maximum thing, I think in terms of bass, you want to do it kind of in a groove kind of thing. So, you know, maybe like I said, I'm not a bass player per se. I have taken bass lessons, but it's not my primary instrument. You probably want to study with a good bass teacher. You just started bass. Yeah, I would really, if you can afford it, man, if you can study with some really good, if you can study with a professional bass player, this is unpopular opinion, but I feel that if you have the advantage of being in a major city like Kuala Lumpur or something, to study with the best player / teacher you can find, and can afford, it's studying with a great, this is talking about the mentorship thing again, studying with someone who plays at a very high level, even if you're a beginner, will speed your development by years sometimes. I've met so many of my students who've been playing for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and when they come to me, they'd be like, oh man, they should have come to me like 5 years or 10 years or 2 years before. many of them will say they wish they studied with me years and years before they finally decided to take lessons with me. And it's the same, like for me, I've learned so much by taking lessons with some amazing musicians, you know, just like taking a Skype lesson with Charlie Hunter, or going to Thailand to take a lesson with Mike Moreno, Julian Lodge, who else? A lot of Wayne Krantz. I went all the way to Hong Kong to study with Wayne Krantz, to take a 2-hour lesson with him. And I think investing in lessons with people is a great way to speed up your progress. As long as you don't get like just obsessed about taking lessons and not applying it. Application is important. Time to digest is important. But having mentors is super important. It just saves a lot of time. Listen to reggae, a lot of bass patterns. Yeah, I agree. Azhar has a good point. Reggae bass lines are really cool. But maybe start out with, I would really recommend starting out with rock and roll, you know, like blues or rock and roll. Start really, really simple. Just start with really groove-oriented stuff. With bass, even though you are playing scales, I think if you're playing electric bass, learn bass lines. And then when you are trying to improve your technique, learn the scales. But try to see if you can start with some of the music, then some of the technique, and then some of the scales. And if you can, study with study with Fly, man. Fly is the man, you know. If you are learning bass and you can take lessons with Fly, I would say take lessons with Fly for as long as you can, for at least 2, 3, 4 years or something, if you can. And Fly will get you on the right track. He's a world-class player, I feel, and he's a great musician, really, really good guy, really good man, very experienced. Take lessons with Fly. He can tell you more than I can about bass. He's the man. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, so talking about mentorship, so I mentioned that Ichiro Tanabas was one of my mentors, a huge influence to my playing, especially before I went to study in Berkeley. In Berkeley, I was taking lessons with Brett Wilmot. Brett is an amazing guitarist, and he wrote a few books one book on polyrhythms and 2 books on drop 2 voicings and harmony. A really, really amazing player. And I think studying with him really inspired me, kind of really got me on track in terms of learning chord voicings and stuff. And it's interesting, although I learned a lot from Brett, I still feel I don't know about a lot of things. I wish I could see him now and just chit-chat over coffee or something, or tea. I've been trying to email him. I haven't been able to get in touch with him. He just retired from Berkeley. But Brett, I owe him a lot. Really amazing guy, inspiring. Who other mentors can I say? I think the other thing is, like, most recently, the past few years, sometimes mentorship may not mean studying with someone directly. It could also mean just studying someone's life and living through their books or their videos as well. So it's not necessarily mentorship means that you actually, you know, meet someone every week in person. You might just be studying through the material. And for example, like, what would be a good example? In a way, it's not really mentorship, but, you know, in a way, you know, through books. For example, I got this book. It's called So Good They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport. And it's such a great book. I feel like, because it's written in a very conversational style, I feel like I'm learning from his experience. So books can be, in a way, kind of mentors. The only thing with just learning from books is that they can guide you, but you can't really have a conversation with them. And so I think if you were, for instance, I had one example about how books can develop into an actual informal lesson or mentorship, is that I'm a huge fan of the writing of Derek Sivers. Derek Sivers is the founder of cdbaby.com. He sold off CD Baby many years ago, but he wrote a beautiful book, which I read. He's working on, I think, 2 or 3 new books this year, but he wrote a book, and at the back of the end chapter, he said that you could email him if you had any thoughts about the book. So I emailed him. I said, thank you for the book. I really was inspired. I learned a lot from it. He replied me. And what happened was I actually managed to spend some time with him when he was still living in Singapore. Now he's not living in Singapore. He moved to New Zealand and then he moved to the UK. But when he was living in Singapore, I met up with him. He was very gracious and he spent some time with me. I literally followed Derek Sivers to send off his laptop, his wife's laptop at that time, for repair. So he had this laptop and we were, no, I think he was supposed to pick it up or something, his MacBook or something, MacBook. And while walking from his office all the way to the, I think it was Sim Lim Square, one of those places in Singapore where you would fix your computers. And we had this long conversation. He just asked me how I am, how am I, we both went to Berkeley. He went in a different year. He was just asking me what I thought about living in Malaysia, how my work was, how my gigging experience was, how it was it for me in the States. You know, he just asked a lot of questions. Now I think about it, he asked me so many questions. And this is a guy who is an extremely successful musician, extremely successful business person, you know, multi-millionaire, I guess, you know, super successful both financially and creatively. And he just spent time with me and he gave me advice, and he told me this one interesting thing. He said, because at that point I still had my stuff in the States, I still had stuff in storage. He said, why don't instead of, you know, selling the stuff or bringing it back from the US to Malaysia, he told me, why don't I give it to my friends or entrust it to my friends or something and see whether I could live without those things. And I said, well, I actually did that. So I have some stuff that I didn't really sell. I gave a friend of mine, Carrie JD, I gave her my doumbek, which is a nice percussion instrument, and she has it. It was like, in a way, I didn't really say it was a gift, but I wanted her to have it and use it in case she wanted to use it, because I love the instrument, but it was so fragile to bring back to Malaysia, and I knew that she would take care of it and use it. And so I remember Derek said, why don't you just give away all the stuff? And it's interesting because Derek has been moving from country to country, so he has I think he has very few things with him. Ah, okay. Alif has more questions. Hendrix. Aminu Rashid Sharom. Hey, Adi. Alif, you smile. How you went to music faculty in UITM or Oopsie? Have you went? I have given a workshop at UITM. Many years ago, I was invited to give a jazz improvisation workshop at UITM. I have not been to Oopsie. I would like to go to Oopsie. So if anyone is at Oopsie, if you guys are at Oopsie and would like to organize a workshop or talk or residency to have me at Oopsie, if you can organize it and contact or liaise with me, where you guys are doing the work. I just want to show up and teach, you know. I want to show up, teach, meet musicians, make sure everything's covered, I get paid, you know, all that good stuff. But I would love to go to Oopsie. I've never been to Oopsie. And I know there's a lot of, I've met a lot of people from Oopsie over the years who seem very cool. So it'd be nice to, I haven't. I like the people I met from UITM. I've met quite a number of students from UITM. I haven't given a workshop at Aswara yet. I have attended workshop at Aswara. Interestingly, I haven't done a workshop there yet. So this goes out for anyone who is listening to this. If you guys are a student or a teacher on faculty at any of these institutions, Oopsie or ICOM or Aswara, or UITM, and you guys want me to come in and give a talk or a workshop or residency where I come in a few days and just mentor you guys and help out with whatever you guys need, feel free to suggest to your faculty or the department or organize it yourself and get in touch with me. Send me a DM or something. We can figure it out. Would love to do something like that, but most likely, not this month, obviously, maybe in a few months' time, but get in touch. So I went to Encik Rosdan Abbas, who was mentor, Brett Wilmot, who was mentor, interesting learning experience with Derek Sivers, who's an amazing human being. And who else did I get? Two other musicians that I really admire, who've given me really good advice over the years. One is Julian Lodge. I think he was my junior, interestingly enough, at Berklee, but he was definitely a senior in terms of experience. Been playing since he was a kid. Really amazing musician. I'm a huge fan. And he's given me some really good advice over the years, just about my music and my direction, what I should do. And sometimes he's just given me questions. And sometimes the best mentorship is just giving you the right questions to ask so you can think about what you want to do. Another guy, same time as me in Berklee, but he was my senior, is this guy named Brian Baker. He's also given me a lot of good advice, that food for thought for me. And it's still like simmering in my head even after all these years. Sometimes you get advice that says one thing, another guy says another piece of advice that's different, that's opposing. So sometimes you have to decide what is right for you there and then. But it's nice to get guidance from people who are ahead of you, which is why the mentorship thing, you want to find people that you can trust, people who you feel their music or their career is in a direction that you would like to be, so that they can give you advice based on their experience. It's really important to find people you trust, admire, and respect. Really important. So if you guys are looking for mentors, right, think about that. Don't just trust anyone's opinion. In fact, you should really trust your own opinion the most, but be open for advice and guidance from people who are more experienced, especially if you like where they are in terms of their career, in terms of their life, in terms of their development. Because if they are where you want to be, you want to listen to what they have to say. Now, if they are less successful or unsuccessful, or very bitter or very negative, you might want to take what they say with a grain of salt. Because if you listen to someone who hasn't been successful in music, they may have insights on what mistakes they did, but you want to be very cautious in terms of advice, because they might not know how to get you where you want to be. They might, from experience and observation from age, but just be very cautious about it. Look at people who are doing what you want to do and see what they have to say. And preferably that they are still active. They're not like, it's not like they were successful 15 years ago and now they're not. Try to find people who are currently doing what you want to do. That really helps. You can also find people who have done it in the past. That helps as well, but it's good to have a balance of it. So those are my thoughts on mentorship. Aminur Rashid, man, you do inspire me a lot in music. Thanks, man. That means a lot to me. I'm happy that I can inspire you. A lot of this, right, is because I've had really inspiring teachers, and so I'm trying to give back. I always imagine, I have this thing where, imagine if I died tomorrow, and imagine I had spent all this time learning all this stuff, and if it was not documented, if I can't pass it down, at least you guys have like 40 episodes of this Ask show. If you just watch 40 of this, is it 40 hours? Some of it's 1 hour, 1 hour and a half long. Some of it's 20 minutes, 15 minutes. But it's a lot of information. If you actually went through it, you probably get a lot of stuff from this series, which is free. I'm not charging you guys for this. So just use whatever is useful, use it. If it's not useful, forget about it. Take what you need, and move on. That's what I say. So you guys, does anyone have any questions for today's thing? Today's episode was the importance of mentorship. Like I said, the mentorship thing, you can save a lot of time. You can cut a lot of time off your experimenting by finding people who are successful when doing the stuff you want to do. That's why people go to college, because you want to find people, like a concentration of people in the same place where they all want to succeed, hopefully, and you're learning from people who are successful, hopefully, depending which college you go, which faculty you get. When I started out in another series of important people in my life, when I was a student in ICOM back in the day, my music business teachers included, music industry teachers included Buntan, who was the producer for Nico, Jennifer Thompson, who was an amazing event producer, Ahmad Izamoma, who's now the CEO of ATV, but that time he was transitioning from Positive Tone, EMI to ATV. Obi Suito taught me keyboards. Wu Yao Jin taught me keyboards, basic keyboards. It blows my mind every time I think about it, that some of these people were my teachers early on, and it really left an impact because it really changes how you think about things when you meet people like this when you're like 18, 19, 20, 21. So try to meet people who are successful. Try to learn from people who are successful at a very high level in the game, in the work. It changes. You know, if you hang out with people who are not successful, you're going to get sometimes unsuccessful and negative people. Sometimes you can be successful but quite negative. You want to hang out with positive, successful people. Then you can learn faster, be inspired, learn stuff. Okay, any other questions, guys? I'll give you guys a sec. And you guys can ask other things as well. It doesn't necessarily have to just be about mentorship, although mentorship would be probably the best thing to ask about today. I'm going to put up some things that I want to pimp here. If you guys are following me here on Facebook, please follow me on other platforms as well. I'm on Twitter. I tweet quite a lot nowadays. I'm also on Instagram. I post different things on Instagram. I'm also on YouTube. I am now reposting these Facebook Live videos on YouTube, but there's also hundreds of videos on YouTube. My websites are asamat.com and asamatlessons.com. Check those out. The other thing is, if you like what you hear here, and you happen to be a guitarist and you want to study with me, you can also start out by getting my ebooks. I just posted a link to my ebook store where you can get my books. I have 5 ebooks out and a new guide on how to start teaching guitar lessons. If you want to teach guitar and don't know how to start teaching guitar or how to get students, what you're good at, check out that guide if that's the topic you're interested, because it's a really cool guide. It will save you a lot of time trying to figure it out on your own. It's basically stuff I've learned over the years and share with my students. So check that out. There's also 3 jazz guitar ebooks, jazz improv book, and also a beginner chord book there. So check that out if you want to get more stuff to study with me. Last thing I want to request is, if you've enjoyed this episode of the Ask Az Show, episode number 40, please consider writing a review on the review section. I just posted a link there. It would mean the world to me if you enjoyed it to write a review there. It would help me out a lot and help convince more people to watch this show. So those are the things I would like to ask from you guys. Does anyone have any more questions? Give you guys a minute. Okay, looks like there's no questions. So let me just wrap up today's episode by saying that if you guys can, guys and gals, if you can find a mentor, someone who is doing what you want to do in music, who is further ahead in their career, 10 years or 20 years ahead of their career, try to see if you can study with them. Try to see if you can hang out with them. Try to see if you can be their roadie. Whatever it takes to spend as much time with people who are at the top of the field, you'll save a lot of time and you'll learn what really you need. Almost every time I've worked with people who are at a higher level in terms of standard, in terms of success, you learn quickly what people at that level work like, what their work ethic is like, and what is important to them. Is very different than people who are just doing it like in an okay introductory level. It's a whole different game. And so the only way you want to get to that level is to see what is the level, and then you know what to aim for. So do that from as early as possible. Learning and investing in your education is probably the biggest thing you can do. I mean, get a good instrument, get a decent instrument, spend on good equipment. Don't skimp on equipment, meaning that if you can afford a nicer, you can save up for a nicer guitar, get a nicer guitar. It doesn't have to be the most expensive, but get a good, well set up instrument. It means the world. Yes, Vigneswara and Supersaver is awesome. Some licks that you said are modern licks, a bit hard fingering. Yeah, man. So Vigneswaran is one of, he got my Supersaver jazz bundle. Let me give you guys the link to that as well. He got my Supersaver jazz bundle, which is, it's like $1. It's like 4 ringgit, which is, it's a $1 bundle. If you guys want to get that, you get 50 jazz guitar licks, a mini chord, major 7 chord book and a major scale ebook, mini ebook is $1, is 4 ringgit. I made it. I can sell it for $10. I think it's at least worth $5 if I sold it. I can definitely sell it for $10. I choose to sell it at $1 because I wanted to let more people who have not bought my material, who have not invested in lessons with me, still be able to get something from me that is high quality, but I purposely underpriced it so you guys can buy it. If you want to get my other stuff, you can go up to like $80. Lessons with me are between 265 ringgit to $85 an hour. So I'm giving you guys half an hour. This is like, if you took a private lesson with me, this would be 132 ringgit and 50 cents by now, something like that. That's my, like, based on my hourly rate. And the reason I do all this Facebook Live things is I want to share this information so that more people can benefit from it. And for those who feel inclined, who feel they want, if you feel that you want to get more stuff from me, if you feel you want to get more personalized instruction, then you can approach me for private lessons. If not, you can still keep watching the Facebook Live thing. A lot of my private students watch my Facebook Live thing because they know how much I charge for lessons, and they know that I give the same quality of instruction even in the Facebook Live things. Except some people think when something is free, they think it's less quality. It's not the case for my lessons. I try to keep this Facebook Live as real as I would teach in person. If you paid me money, I would still teach you at a high quality. I do not compromise my quality just because something is free, something I don't charge. I want you guys to experience the best information and the best experience I've gotten. I want to give you guys the best. But if you guys want to support me and get stuff for yourself and you want to get more material, check out the ebook store, check out the Supersaver Jazz Guitar Bundle. Yeah. Trust Vigneswaran, man, he got it. 4 ringgit, you learn a lot. Yeah, you learn a lot. If it was an American book, it would be $10. It'd be like 40 ringgit. It's 4 ringgit. Get that. It means a lot to me. It means that you support my work, and you get 50 licks to practice. Some of those are really hard. Just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's not challenging. Doesn't mean you're not going to learn stuff. You're going to learn amazing things. Vigneswaran knows. He got it. If you are in Malaysia and you don't have a debit card or credit card, if Gumroad is tricky, you can do a direct transfer to my main bank as well. 4 ringgit transfer to my main bank if you want to get it. Just send me a message and I'll sort you guys out. Okay, guys, I think that's all I want to share with you guys today. I'll do another episode tomorrow. If anyone has any suggestions for topics, please feel free to leave something in the comments. I would love to know what you guys want to know. I'm here for you guys. This topic was suggested by Busy Ibrahim, so hopefully he can watch it at some point, the playback probably. And take care, guys. Be awesome, be amazing musicians, and keep playing and keep being awesome people, man. Take care and good night.